I'm just going to talk to you about how to build a passive income with your creative skills. So there's three things I want to talk about. And these are just like three fundamental high level things that you can do to get started doing this. Like I said, you don't have to be a design celebrity. You don't have to have very special credentials to do this. So here's the 3-step process. We want to choose the right product. We want to make a product that stands out, and then find something you love about marketing. So one is to choose the right product. There's 3 questions to find a profitable product. First of all, very obvious. What's popular on Creative Market? What's popular on Instagram? What's popular on design blogs? What do you have the skills to build well? And where do you have leverage? So I'll kind of briefly go over these. So what's popular on Creative Market? I was going on a dribble and I would keep seeing people doing this great work. And then, they'd be like, great work. Someone would comment and someone else would say, thanks, man. And then someone else would say, how did you get that texture? Radio silence. What font are you using? Radio silence. And I kind of just decided I'm going to make a business where I'm going to answer all those questions, and I'm going to answer them by making a product that answers the question. I just figured, well, if people are asking this question, then there's probably people that are willing to pay for it, because I'll pay for the answer. Mm-hmm. So why don't I just find the answer and sell the answer? The second thing is you have to be honest with yourself. Like, what do you have the skills to build well? You really can't just choose a niche, in my opinion, and decide that that's what you're going to sell. You have to really know, what am I good at and what am I not good at? And I think one of my strengths has been that I've been able to realize what I'm not good at and find other people to help me and partner with me, as opposed to deciding I need to go study for 2 years before I can move my business forward. And finally, where do you have leverage? This is super important because this comes down to traffic. So for instance, if someone is friends with you, they might have leverage to a larger audience. By both of us knowing Diane Gibbs and me having a story that's relevant to your audience, I had some leverage to be on your show, which is amazing. And that puts me in front of other people that I can share information with. And hey, either that turns into friendships, that turns into connections, that might turn into some sales. So you have to think about, where's your leverage? Do you work somewhere where it's high profile and you can use that to your advantage to show credibility? Do you know people in a certain group that can spread the word about what you're making? The whole point here is that people need to be able to find you, and you need to use every asset available to you to get people to find you. And what do you buy and enjoy? This is like an important one, because when you buy something and enjoy it, it's easier to understand the psychology of why people buy things in the first place. As an example of this, here's something that we may call the mid-century Procreate brush pack. It's 15 Procreate brushes. So how did we choose this product? Well, we knew Procreate was popular. We knew that from having retro supply for a while, we know that people are interested in creating retro illustrations and stuff. And we stood out by just going above and beyond. I'm friends with a illustrator who's done children's books and children's museums named Brad Woodard, done a lot of amazing stuff. And I said, what if we made this pack of 15 brushes that were the be all end all of brushes that you would need for Procreate if you want to do this kind of illustration? And we spent probably 50, 60 hours where we would just go back and forth on Skype. I'd make brushes. He would try them out, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually we had 100 brushes. And then we just chiseled that down to 15. What are the 15 highest leverage brushes that we can make? So I guess the point was, we tried to do things that made people go, whoa, that's crazy. I can't believe they went to the extent of doing that. And if you can't make people feel that way, it's very hard to sell to them. Even at $15, you have to make it feel like a no-brainer, and they have to feel like they're probably getting 3 to 5 times the value of what you're charging. So step 2 is to make products for your people. How do you find your people? And the reason I say this is because if you're making products for people that you don't care about, it's really hard to get excited and fall in love with it. So you could start by asking yourself, who is most definitely not my people? Think about the people that you would not be excited to make stuff for. Sometimes it's easier when you define it that way. Who don't I want to make stuff for? And that will tell you who you do want to make stuff for. Ask yourself, who do you follow on social media? Who do you always look out for their work? I love Andy J. Pizza. I'm always looking out for his work. He's someone that I make stuff for. I don't think he buys my stuff, but I kind of make it thinking, I hope Andy J. Pizza would like this. And you know what I mean? It narrows it down to a very specific person. So you can kind of imagine, oh, man, I think this person would really dig this. And who do you respect in your field? So for me, I'm not the greatest illustrator. So I said, who do I respect in my field? And how can I do the dirty work for them to save them time? Because I can't outdraw a lot of my heroes. And if you make stuff for everyone, you're kind of making stuff for no one. So here's an example. This is an amazing artist named Ed Ville. He lives in Mexico City. I love his work. And it turns out he's just really enthusiastic about the products. Here's some of his work. And this uses our products. It's no surprise that he likes our products, because we quite literally built products thinking about people exactly like him. So I think knowing truly who a real living, walking, breathing person is that's going to use your product is huge. Find something you love about marketing. This is, I think, a hard leap for people, because I think as artists, my work should speak for itself. And that's fine if you want to do that. But if you're interested in making money, and not everyone is, but if you're interested in making more money, you really have to find something to love about marketing and become a marketer. It's very rare that people will just randomly find things and start buying them. So marketing stuff that I love copywriting. For people that aren't familiar, copywriting is essentially the art of writing persuasive text that helps to sell a product. I love email. Some people hate email. I love email. I subscribe to tons of email lists. I read all the emails. I click through on the emails. I unsubscribe from them to see what happens when I unsubscribe from them. I make swipe files. In other words, I copy parts of emails that I love and find ways to readapt it to what I'm doing. You might hate email. That might not be the thing for you out there listening. Maybe it's something else. But I guarantee if you start digging into marketing, you'll find some things that speak to you. Niching down, that was another thing that was big for me. Creative Market at one point got acquired by Autodesk. And I knew they were going to get a lot bigger. And I started to notice there was a lot of brush script fonts and a lot of watercolor illustrations. Those were becoming big. And like all this retro supply stuff I was doing was becoming not as big. And so I had to make a decision. Am I going to become a different business and start selling brush scripts? Or am I going to double down on making this retro stuff? And I decided, no, like I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to compromise what I'm interested in. There's a history behind the reason I do what I do. And I decided I'm going to double down on this. And either I'm going to go bankrupt and have to figure out something else, or I'm going to be really successful because I'm going to be the one that doubled down when everyone else kind of did this mass migration to watercolors and brush scripts. And then customer research. I love customer research. Something people always ask is, what should I make? The first couple of products you make, you might need to like take some guesses and just randomly try stuff. But once you have a few customers, you can just ask them. Our best-selling products have happened because I've just sent out emails and I've said, what do you want me to make? If I could make anything for you, what would it be? And people tell you what they want. And then you look at what the most people are telling you and you make that. It's a super simple recipe for making something successful, is to stop guessing and start just listening to what people ask you to make.
It sounds totally obvious, but it's not obvious. It's not as intuitive as you think. You're saying to people, ask a good question and then just listen and then follow up on that. It's a very simple recipe for building rapport with anybody.
Exactly. There's an author and a marketer, Jeff Walker, I believe his name is, and he has a one-question survey he'll send out, and he'll say, if there was one thing that had to be inside of a product for you to buy it, what would it be? And I've asked that question so many times, and people will tell you very specific things, and you put that in, and then you can literally copy and paste their responses into your email or into however you're selling and send it back to them once you've created the product and say, I made insert whatever all these people described. How do you not buy that when it describes exactly, when you reflect back to them exactly what they asked for? And then finally, just like start now and be prepared to fail. Something I heard the other day, and I feel like it's a very common theme as well. I did this and then it didn't work, so I guess that doesn't work. And the reality is I remember hearing, it was some famous songwriter. He said, it takes around 100 songs to write a good song. So just remember, if something doesn't work the first time, it might take a lot of times before it works. And you can tell the people that are going to succeed, not by their talent. You can tell they're going to succeed because they're consistent. They release things, they try different things, they become predictable. In fact, I remember when I first started, my only goal was to release something every week. And I had people write me and say, I know every Tuesday at 3:00 something comes out from you. So I look forward to it. So just be prepared to fail a lot and put stuff out there and be embarrassed and make mistakes. That is the price of entrance into most things. So that's it.